What's up to all my nature lovers out there? It's your boy Ian from the litunderground.com, the new environmental kids on the block, dropping dope and free environmental content because nature is everything, everybody. And without books, though, nature will burn. And people hate to hear this because everyone loves to talk about political action and climate change through politics right now because that's the in thing. But without a mass awakening of ecological knowledge and consciousness, one day, because when you give one group the moral authority to rule over, and the moral and political authority through the police to rule over the environment and other human beings, one day the tide is going to sway the other way, or is going to recede, or the pendulum is going to swing the other way. And everyone knows that, but no one wants to admit that we can pass whatever law or do whatever we want right now, but those laws can be repealed. And the only way to do it is to tip over the edge in terms of ecological consciousness so it is bipartisan, so that all sides can agree and feel into this. Because this happened in my local town. A park had been protected for many decades by the Democrats in my city. But the Republicans gained control and then started to commercialize this historic park in my town. Nothing to do. We couldn't do anything about it. We protested. Boom. The police were there. There were climate protesters, taking massive action that required the police. And they were apprehended, arrested, and now it has been commercialized. And it's a freaking joke. The animals, the coyotes, the migrating birds have all suffered and have all receded. So what is the solution, though? And the solution is books, because a lot of people like to say politics, or the next is just spending time in nature, trying to get everybody out of nature. But as we see with the Ted Kaczynski types and some of the extremist groups, they actually have a base in nature. The groups like the Nazis had this base in nature, and we'll get into that even more another time. But things can go wrong if knowledge isn't there, because people can get into nature and then reuse nature to reinforce their extreme beliefs. But once again, the real solution is through books, through a wide range of reading environmental texts from all different sides, from people as extreme as spiritual ecologists, or then people who are just talking about general climate change, just about, ending plastic use, for instance. That you can learn so many, or reading a general book about the ocean or about the ozone layer. All the pop books, for instance, all these different things are useful, and the people can just slowly gather enough in their reading repertoire. They will be these expanded ecological individuals, and then they will put social pressure on those other individuals who have not broken yet. So let's talk about the people in my area. There was a certain group who had financial interests, and they lobbied to a politician, and they donated to her, and then she enacted these changes. She doesn't care for either way about this park. She's not a nature lover, but this group co-opted her into doing this. But what if those people, because they did that, were subjected to extreme social pressure, that they were outcasted and they were refused service, and people knew who they were and sneered at them because everybody went to the local park. Everybody loved and grew up at that local park because their parents loved ecology and their children loved it. And so these people who pushed this thing through were going to be the outcasts of society. And then those people's children aren't going to be able to find anyone to get in a relationship with. At school, they're going to be bullied at school, and then they're going to come home and be like, Mom and Dad, what did you do? Never do this again. Stop this now. If we don't make these people's lives hard who are doing this, nothing is going to happen. And the only way to do that is, once again, to conglomerate and use books, because if we do it in these weird nature tribalistic ways, then tribal warfare occurs. Then it suddenly becomes a freaking turf war. That is the last thing that we want. Screw that. You guys know where that goes. We do not want that. What we want is the awakening of ecological consciousness through knowledge, and then in nature, because the extreme nature that the Kaczynski types experience in nature can be remedied through books and through social situations. Because if you Because could you imagine? Like I said, I live in Las Vegas, a town of 3 million people. I'm out in the outskirts of the desert every single day. There's at least 700,000 people within 10 minutes of that location in my town. I never see anybody out there. Maybe once a month, 1 out of 30, I see anybody out there. What are the other 3 million people doing? Are they at the other spots on the outskirts of town? No, because I've been there too. I know it's just as rare in all these different locations for people to care. So when a new housing development, like in my community, is going to be built on Native American land, not just that has just been sold because of political pressure by the Native Americans, no one's going to care. No one's going to show up. But once again, the only way is through books, because books harbor passion, books stay in our subconscious, and books give us the language to help convince others. And we could hand someone a book. No one wants to hear about politics. No one wants to say, hey, man, you got to show up to this and we got to lobby and go door to door. But people like to read. People like to be entertained. And books that are well written are entertaining. So that is my contention, everybody, that politics, and to even just through exposing nature, insta nature, getting everyone to do van life, isn't going to work. It is really about awakening a deeper ecological consciousness through knowledge, through reading deep into social ecologists, spiritual ecologists, deep ecologists, and other schools of ecology, and even more scientific ecology, to understand what is going on. And once we've accomplished that, we are going to be able to actually save nature. Because, like I said, mark my words, this in the future, 100 years from now, if we haven't solved this problem, whatever party, whatever person is going to come in and put the hammer down on nature. And that's going to suck. So everybody, this is Ian. Subscribe, like, do your thing, and check back tomorrow, because there is for sure going to be a bunch of new videos.